Right now, the Ukrainian armed forces are breaking through the front, the south of Ukraine has been liberated, and the occupiers are fleeing in terror. Ukrainian defenders are tearing apart enemy positions and destroying their equipment in the ruins. The Ukrainian counteroffensive is gaining momentum, and there's more to come. A missile nightmare for Russia. Ukraine is launching ballistic missiles without restrictions. No one expected such a breakthrough. Deadly power from the skies is already striking the enemy. British engineers are strengthening the strike. A massive salvo of Ukrainian missiles has torn Russia apart. The Kremlin's Shahed nightmare is falling apart. The night is no longer their ally. The Ukrainian armed forces are reinforcing the fiery barrier. The aerial hunt has begun. Drones are falling one after another. Ukrainian air defense has found an unexpected solution against Russian Shaheds. Russia's boiling. Migrants versus the traditional Russians. The streets are on the verge of exploding. A social storm. Hatred is off the charts. Conflicts are flaring up everywhere. The country is cracking from within. The clashes can no longer be stopped. The level of hostility is off the charts. Russia's internal front is ablaze. The social bomb is ticking. Lukashenko is under fire. Support from the Kremlin comes at a high price. Minsk is receiving a harsh response. Transnistria is also in the turbulence zone. The region is feverish. Ukraine is striking Moscow's allies mercilessly. All this and more in our program Hotspot. The south of Ukraine is on fire. The Ukrainian armed forces are on the home stretch, where occupation is already knocking at the door. The fiery countdown has begun. Ukrainian defenders have unleashed a real apocalypse on the occupiers. The enemy's position is destroyed, their equipment is wrecked, and command posts are in panic. The counteroffensive continues with renewed force. The Ukrainian armed forces are pushing the enemy further and further back. The occupiers are forced to retreat. Stay tuned for further developments. With us, every hour brings new sensations and victories.
The Ukrainian air assault forces have officially launched an offensive. A corresponding statement was published the day before by the Air Assault Forces Command. In essence, the General Staff dispelled the rumors and made an open statement. Ukraine is moving forward. The main task assigned to the units is to disrupt the occupiers' plans to advance in the Dnipropetrovsk and Zaporizhzhia regions, as well as to defeat the enemy grouping and push them beyond the border. Dnipropetrovsk region.
Can truly say today that the counter-attacking activity of the Ukrainian Defense Forces is happening now in the Hulyai-Pol direction, in the Stepnohursk direction, and not only there. It's not just the southern front, far from it. Therefore, it is clear that Ukraine is using the resources, reserves that we have, and the opportunities that have opened up, including by introducing a certain amount of chaos, such as disabling Starlink.
At the same time, a number of military analysts note that Russia is gradually regaining its composure. To the areas where the Ukrainian armed forces broke through, Moscow decided to transfer reserves that had been prepared for the spring offensive. The occupiers are also partially trying to restore reliable communications on the front line. However, so far, neither effort has produced significant results.
There are several main reasons for the success of the Ukrainian attacks. One is the disabling of Starlink, which led to the loss of stable communications for Russian troops. Another is the overall exhaustion of Putin's units in this sector of the front after prolonged, continuous attacks. In addition, the Ukrainian armed forces took advantage of the weather conditions. The same fog which had previously played into the hands of Russian forces several times.
Another crucial factor in Ukraine's success was the level of preparation of Russian troops on the other side of the front line. Or more precisely, the almost complete lack of it.
Well, I'll say it straight. 80% of them are unprepared troops. These are the ones they've gathered from various villages under different pretexts. Mobilization, recruitment, pressure, and accordingly, they throw them into battle.
It is also worth noting the discussions about the liberation by the Ukrainian armed forces. The military has now officially confirmed the liberation of hundreds of square kilometers of Ukraine as well. Thus, the spokesperson for the Southern Defense Forces, Vladislav Voloshin, stated that more than 300 square kilometers have already been liberated. And the advance of our fighters continues.
Ukrainian forces are counterattacking along a broad front approximately 30 kilometers from Varvarivka to Ternovate. If the entire area is cleared of infiltrated Russian soldiers, that's exactly what you get. 300 square kilometers.
The command notes that information about the advance of the Ukrainian armed forces is announced with a delay so as not to jeopardize operations, as has happened in the past. But even what has already been made public allows for cautious predictions that the successes of the defense forces will help thwart Putin's major spring offensive.
It can be said that Ukraine, again, I am not getting ahead of myself because the security of the military operation currently underway is paramount, has managed, in my view, at least for now, to make adjustments to the conduct of the Zaporizhzhia or Kiev offensive operation of the Russian Federation. And here there really are three dots. As
Days has already been noted, excellent results are being shown not only by the advancing assault units of the Ukrainian armed forces, but also by the drone forces, which are constantly increasing enemy losses. And the fact that the occupiers are being forced to retreat has also debunked yet another myth of the Russian Federation at the same time. After all, people in it do eventually run out.
If he had them, he would have already thrown in another 500,000, which he doesn't have, in all directions. And he would have long since entered Pokrovsk and would have already taken Hulyapol and advanced on Zaporizhzhia. But that hasn't happened. So it's not that he's holding back resources somewhere or hiding them. As many people think, why is that? It's just that they simply don't exist. That's the reality.
By the way, the commander-in-chief, Oleksandr Syrsky, also confirmed in an interview with Le Monde that the war in Ukraine has moved out of a deadlock. According to the general staff, the front has started to move back, and in recent days there have been up to 50 clashes daily in the Hulyapol and Oleksandrivka directions.
A missile apocalypse for Russia is just beginning. Ukrainian engineers have made a sensational breakthrough in rocket engineering. A ballistic missile has been created that can strike targets deep behind enemy lines. And most importantly, no permissions or bureaucracy are needed for powerful strikes. The Flamingo missile has already proven its deadly effectiveness. Each salvo is like thunder from the sky, tearing apart enemy headquarters and depots. British engineers joined the project, boosting the technological breakthrough. The Russians are in panic, alarms are sounding in command posts. Urgent meetings and fear, all before the Ukrainian missile strike. All of this is already a reality.
The Ukrainian missile, which today is feared not only by our enemies, but thanks to its accuracy and low production cost, is even causing concern among Kyiv's partners. In February 2022, we asked our Western partners to close the airspace over Ukraine. But by February 2026, it is Europe that is asking Ukraine to share its unique experience. How can you do this yourself?
It's a very simple technology. There's nothing complicated needed here. There are plenty of books written about this, where everything is explained. How it's done, what's so complicated about it?
As it turned out, modern American and European air defense technologies have a huge drawback: their cost. Even though Western weaponry is technologically unmatched, given today's realities of warfare, NATO would only be able to defend against enemy missile drones for a few days. The West simply doesn't have enough resources for anything more. After all, each of these missiles is tens or even hundreds of times more expensive than the drones they are used to destroy.
Currently, intercepting an Iskander costs over $6 million.
And here, Ukraine comes to the West's aid with its unique Flamingo missile.
We want to bring this down to $1 million or $1.5 million so that intercepting an Iskander would cost that much.
Using the FP9 missile.
Using the FP7 missile.
The Ukrainian Flamingo is already demonstrating unprecedented efficiency and accuracy, attacking strategic targets in Russia. The missile, created in the shortest possible time, has become yet another headache for Putin and his generals. Since the development is entirely domestic, the Ukrainian armed forces don't need any permissions. They can strike with the Flamingo wherever and whenever they want. The only problem our developers have to put up with is scaling up production. So far, it hasn't been possible to produce enough missiles per month to meet the needs of the Ukrainian armed forces.
This is strategic weaponry. Unfortunately, strategic weapons can't be bought or launched today in the same quantities as hotcakes, like it happens with FPV drones. For the effect to be seen by everyone and for it to reach every household. But based on the missions that have been carried out so far, we see that it fully meets the objectives we set for it.
For now, domestically produced missiles for striking targets are not enough to hit all targets on Russian territory, so our Western partners have to help with this as well. For example, the United Kingdom is developing a new deep strike ballistic missile for Ukraine.
We can state that, first and foremost, we are talking about a missile that can be quickly scaled up and is a relatively inexpensive means because the government of the United Kingdom is specifically emphasizing that this should be a cost-effective solution, meaning it should meet the demands of the current time, since we see that the armed forces need a lot of such means and it cannot be too expensive.
As a result, within the framework of the Nightfall project, Britain announced a competition for the accelerated development of ballistic missiles designed for combat operations under conditions of high threat and strong electromagnetic interference. The modern English missile will be able to launch from various platforms, carry out a series of launches, and leave its position within a few minutes. The system will be equipped with a 200-kilogram high explosive warhead. It will feature high accuracy and a range of up to 500 kilometers.
500 kilometers. This completely covers all the temporarily occupied territory of Ukraine. It also covers a significant part of the European territory of the Russian Federation. And at this depth, the enemy positions both its higher-level headquarters, starting from brigade up to divisional level, as well as army and group of forces level headquarters. These are also significant logistical hubs, meaning places where fuel and lubricants, warehouses, and supplies are concentrated.
In combination with the Ukrainian Flaming, the British missile can significantly reduce the Kremlin's and personally Putin's desire to continue their campaign. Instead of launching missile strikes on peaceful Ukrainian cities, the bunker dweller will be forced to endlessly defend against Ukrainian armed forces missiles.
The number and intensity of operations by our security forces using strike drones, including against strategic targets, are wearing down the enemy's air defense forces, the enemy. And the combination of ballistic weapons and strike drones can deliver targeted strikes against specific enemy assets that are critically important to them. And it will only get worse from here, at least for the Kremlin. Ukrainian developers promise to reach the necessary supply volumes of ballistic weapons for the armed forces of Ukraine by the end of this year, while simultaneously creating more and more types of advanced weaponry.
This year, it's about ballistics. In 2 or 3 years, it will be about creating an anti-ballistic air defense shield over all of Europe.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
Ukrainian air defense is breaking Russia's chessboard scenario. The occupiers' aerial terror is starting to crack. Drones are increasingly turning into burning wreckage even before reaching their targets. New air defense systems are entering the fight. Ammunition depots are being replenished and mobile groups are acting faster and more professionally. Tactics have been updated and the response is lightning fast. The result is obvious. The interception rate is rising, attacks are being thwarted, and the enemy's plans are crashing into the abyss along with their drones. The Ukrainian sky is under powerful protection.
This year, Ukrainian air defense will become more reliable, more accurate, and most importantly, much more extensive. Since the beginning of February, the defense forces have started to show phenomenal results in destroying aerial targets of the enemy. And above all, this concerns drones. Analysts say this is connected to the new concept from the Ministry of Defense and personally from Minister Fedorov, who is actively promoting the idea of an anti-drone dome over Ukraine.
It's an entire system of early warning and early detection in the form of radars, including 3D radars. Then comes close-range detection, when the information is transmitted to the detection system of the strike complex itself. For example, this could be either a missile strike complex or kinetic projectiles, ammunition.
It is worth noting that advanced radars are already operating in Ukraine, such as Cerberus. These are capable of detecting and tracking up to 500 targets simultaneously. At the same time, during the recent Ramstein meeting, the Allies pledged to provide us with additional radars as well as a large amount of military equipment to strengthen our air defense.
As a result of Ramstein, the partners confirmed one of the largest budgets for supporting Ukraine, $38 billion for 2026. We hope for the fastest possible delivery times.
It has also become known that Ukraine will soon receive a large batch of missiles. AIM missiles, which Ukrainian defenders use to shoot down Russian cruise missiles and jet-powered drones. This was reported the day before by the Ministry of Defense press service. These missiles have been in service with the Ukrainian armed forces for several years. In particular, they are used from F-16 aircraft and NASAM's ground-based air defense systems.
NATO must do whatever is necessary, right now, to be sure that when it comes to air defense and other weapons systems, we are doing everything possible to provide all that is within our power. By the way,
the need to increase the supply of missiles for the F-16 may also be related to another piece of news from recent days. According to Western journalists, it's not only Ukrainian armed forces pilots who have been flying in Ukrainian skies recently. The publication Intelligence Online, citing its sources, reports that an entire squadron of foreign pilots from the US and the Netherlands has been formed in Ukraine.
Highly skilled pilots from the international F-16 unit frequently conduct routine patrols across the area during nighttime Russian attacks, to guarantee a much more rapid and effective response to aerial threats, and to significantly maximize the overall radar coverage. The most significant contribution of Western veterans to Ukraine's air defense structure lies in their experience and skills in using the fighter jet's high-precision sensors, particularly the Lockheed Martin Sniper Targeting Pod. This highly sophisticated and ultra-precise electro-optical infrared system is primarily used for the identification of objects at long ranges, tracking high-speed and fast-moving targets, and striking with precision even in extremely challenging and adverse weather conditions.
The Ministry of Defense has not officially confirmed this information, but it is openly stated that a comprehensive reform of the air defense forces is underway. For example, within the structure of unmanned systems forces, units of interceptor drones are now being actively formed. These have already increased the effectiveness of air defense and often help save more expensive missiles for other purposes.
The number of these drones flying is a real problem. It's not just about scaling up the strike drones and anti-drones themselves, but it is also fundamentally about the comprehensive process of scaling up the professional pilots themselves and the rigorous specialized training programs required for their ongoing development.
Journalists have also learned that, under the Ramstein agreements, additional equipment is to be supplied to the armament of small fire teams, Norwegian air defense systems, NASAMS for those very AIM missiles, as well as similar equipment from other partners.
Short-range systems. These are usually either wheeled or tracked vehicles equipped with certain systems. They look around, observe, and can move. Some of them can even fire while doing so. But these are systems that can move quickly.
Even though the strengthening of Ukrainian air defense is ongoing, analysts note that it is specifically in 2026 that our sky defenders will demonstrate truly unprecedented results. For example, on the night of February 17th, when 20 out of 20 K-101 missiles, 4 out of 4 Iskander missiles, and more than 360 drones were destroyed,